Hi there, Isha here, and welcome to the Higher Life, where I explore how concepts considered spiritual, new age, esoteric, and psychological can be applied in a way that truly empowers your life. And not only empowers your life, enables a certain set of conditions in which we can start to co-create global prosperity. I think it's really important that we find this link between the work that we do in our personal lives, this personal empowerment, and the global prosperity that it can create. This interdependency is super important when we're looking out at the world right now and we're feeling very disturbed by the ongoing violence, the chaos, the confusion, and this deep fear of the other that perpetuates violence. This on top of the environmental degradation and spiritual malnourishment, is leaving people in a very, I would say, fearful space. A lot of disappointment, depression, disillusionment. It's not a fun time to be out in humanity right now. But I'm here to explore today a topic that might give you some hope, or at least reignite or inspire some optimism about what's truly possible when we understand our true power as a human being. And that is to explore what is the true nature of love. It's a great topic, and it's very close to my heart because I am a big believer in the VIA character strengths test. I think understanding your top 3 strengths or virtues really helps you to understand your natural way of being in the world. And my top character strength is the capacity to love and be loved. So this has been a theme that I've been exploring in a very deep, personal way. And it's an interesting concept because we often describe love as behavior as being loving or unloving. We have lots of manifestations of love: parental love, romantic love, sisterly love, brotherly love, friendship. It can get very confusing, especially if you have an active interest in cultivating more love in your life. We've been taught, either consciously or unconsciously, that love, or the source of love, really is in our relationships. And that if we are on our own, single, isolated, that it's very hard to experience love. But there are many of us who have also spent a lot of time inside relationships, family systems, tribal systems, workplaces, partners, marriages, where we've experienced this deep sense of loneliness and the absence of love. So it makes sense that this isn't really true in practice. If we really look at the world out there, if we explore the nature of relationships, there is something untrue about the idea that love is a relational experience. I believe that love must be self-fulfilling. That is the natural intelligence of humanity. We are designed as a self-fulfilling intelligence. That means that we know how to love ourselves in a way that just cultivates more of it. But that means we need to understand the nature, the true nature of love. And I think to really make this simple in a way that you can apply it in your everyday life so that it's a tool, it helps to see love as resilience. It is that capacity for a human being to tolerate a certain amount of discomfort, to really stay on purpose. I think that for me, mothering or really tackling some of my family of origin experiences, this resilience has been very visible and very accessible to me. There is this capacity that we have as human beings to stay on course even when we are deeply disturbed or we are feeling really challenged by our experiences. As a mother, this happens to me daily, especially when I had younger kids, but now with teenagers as well. I really notice the true nature of love when I am in this dynamic with my children, because there's a certain commitment that I make, showing up, being present, being available, and it doesn't really matter how I get treated in that process. Now, of course, I'm not referring to being abused in any way, shape, or form. What I mean is that there is this certain perseverance, this dedication and devotion that just becomes available when I'm in these relationships with my children, that allow me to stay steady no matter how difficult the circumstances get. I found this also in my marriage. Marriage has been such a powerful teacher on love. There have been many times where I have felt disappointed by the relationship. The other person hasn't lived up to my expectations, or I haven't get the kind of needs fulfilled that I wanted. We go into our marriages often wanting to have the emotional neglect that happened when we were younger resolved in our adult relationships. And unfortunately, our marriages are not really there for that purpose. They help us understand that actually we cannot rely on relational love to resolve some inner wounding. We need to seek out a kind of compassionate way of being with ourselves and develop a way of interacting with our wounding that really helps it feel safe, secure, and that it can resolve and dissolve. So this brings you very close to the true nature of love. You definitely need a certain amount of resilience to stay in the discomfort of disappointment, and especially those bigger disappointed dreams like marriage, like family, like parenthood, careers. There's so many fantasies that we live out as a species, as a single human being, these trajectories that we travel along with this heart desire to really experience love, to feel the love coming towards us and to give that love back. And we often feel disappointed that we haven't achieved the kind of inner stability and sense of assurance that we were hoping for. But actually, each time that we face those disappointments, we get closer to the truth, to the true love, the unconditional love, the love that is always available to us. And that's what they mean when they say everything you need is within you. It is in those moments of crisis, of real challenge, that we somehow lean in or feel this resilience showing up, this capacity to just stay in life, to keep moving forward, even when we're facing the most difficult emotional, psychological, or psychic experiences, or physical experiences. To be honest, if we look out at the global stage right now, there is so much disappointed dreams playing out, so much destruction and devastation. And what we also see is this resilience of humanity to keep seeking out ways to reunite, keep seeking out ways to come back into our lives, even when the world out there isn't reflecting the life that we would like. It is such a powerful force in the world. But when you look at love like this as resilience, you're also able to let go of some of the myths that really have us hijacked. That is this idea of romantic love, in a way of parental love, these versions of love that were somehow supposed to fulfill some kind of specific objective. And when that is not fulfilled, we've somehow failed, or we are disadvantaged and not as successful as other human beings who appear to be experiencing these versions of love. The love that I'm speaking to, the true nature of love as a resilience, as that source that we keep coming back to when we want to wake up and keep meeting our lives. Now, I spoke about this in the context of crisis, challenge, disappointment, because we often feel that version of love a lot more acutely when we're suffering. And I think that plays into a lot of the spiritual teachings that ask us to consider that suffering is a really important part of the human experience, and that without it, in a way, we're not able to really transcend the limitations of being human in a very material way, because we don't seek out that sort of love that helps us cultivate resilience. Every single time you meet disappointment, you have to cultivate compassion. You have to cultivate tenderness, curiosity, because if you don't, you just end up bitter and resentful. So there's this kind of forcing into a connection with an inner resourcefulness that helps you meet this disappointment in a way that it doesn't destroy you, that it actually, if engaged with in a more empowered way, can enlighten you. And that has to be love, right? Because love, it's all about the personal. It's all about supporting you as a single human being to truly thrive, irrelevant of the conditions that you're born into and the nature of the relationships of your family system or cultural system. But that other version of love, where the one family has the good love and another family has the bad, one tribe has the benefits or the privileges and another tribe doesn't, that version of love, it just perpetuates our fear of inequality and power abuse. That is a systemic love that does have inequality woven into its fabric. In order to really experience true love, it needs to be equally accessible to every single human being. And we all have access to our resilience. It's an innate inner capacity. Now, we may not have all been educated on it, or we might find it difficult to actually cultivate it, but we all have access to it. It lives within every single human being and in the entire system of humanity, this intelligent relationship system that makes us all innately connected. I find this is a really important tool to explore. I find this is an extremely important tool to contemplate in your life. The true nature of love as resilience, as our capacity to keep showing up, to keep growing, to keep investigating our disappointments, to keep working as a species towards more enlightened way of operating in the world, just is love. So, if we can think of love as resilience, then we can ask, well, how can I cultivate this resilience in my life? How is what's showing up in my life naturally asking me to seek comfort and power through that inner resourcefulness of perhaps curiosity, playfulness, compassion, wisdom, insight? There are so many. I think the VIA character strengths test is a great way to really start tapping into this inner resourcefulness, to find out what your natural strengths are, because that is actually, in a way, your flavor of love. My flavor of love is the capacity to love and be loved. It's wisdom and perspective. It's social intelligence. That's where I draw my energy from, my power. It makes me resilient in the world. When I meet a difficulty, I seek the wisdom in it. That's my personal way. And it helps me to feel self-assured and loved in this world, because I know that there is this higher intelligence that I am leaning in on, and that I have it inside me, and that I don't need to depend on my external relationships for that kind of stability, inner stability and emotional steadiness. This is really powerful stuff. If we can detach from romantic love, parental love, any other version of love that really doesn't speak to this truth, this resilience, this accessibility, we do get stuck in these stories of unfulfilled love, where we've somehow missed out. But we've all been resilient in our lives, either consciously or unconsciously. That love is always available and it's always operating through you. And that resilience is what is moving through humanity. That resilience is what's waking humanity up to the dysfunctional ways in which we operate, and giving us the courage to reach out into the unknown and ask, what else is possible? I think that personal transformation is really answering that inquiry. What else is possible? Personal power is possible. Diving deep into your own psyche and exploring your ordinary daily life and the relationships that make it up is enough food for your true power to really thrive. Love is really who we are and what we are. That resilience is what makes us able to continue on as a life form. So next time you're thinking, what is the most loving approach? Think, what will help me be more resilient here? How is resilience serving me in this situation? What is this resilience, and how do I see it in myself and other people? This will really give you renewed hope and a renewed optimism for what we're truly capable of as a species. Yes, the news is feeding us our worst side, but the news is just feeding us one version of reality. There are plenty of humans like me who are out here doing this work, considering this inquiry, what is the true nature of love, and actively cultivating it in our lives. So if you want to join this momentum, join me in this journey towards an awakened, enlightened humanity. Absolutely subscribe here at HigherLifeTV. Check out the rest of this education, or travel over to HigherLifeAcademy, where I offer 3 masterclasses that lead you through personal transformation, so you can step into your authentic self and start playing your part in cultivating global prosperity. So until next time, take care and love life.